Need help setting up your cash envelopes, your sinking funds, your savings challenges? I'm going to go over how to do that, what goes into what category, how much do you put in there, and how do you figure it out. Let's get into it. Hi everyone, we're going to get straight into setting up our cash wallet, our sinking funds, our savings challenges. We're going to do a real quick yearly reflection just so that we can make sure we've looked back, seen what we've done well, what we haven't, and make sure we have a good plan moving forward. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Laura from Lyman Joy. I'm a wife, a medical coder, and a mom of 6, and I'm on a journey to become debt-free and break generational cycles of debt so the next generation can live and give like they were meant to. So if that interests you, then please subscribe to the Lyman Joy community and hit that bell icon so that you'll be notified every time I post a video that can help keep you on your budgeting, debt-free, and wealth-building journey. All right, so let's get straight into it. First, we're going to just do this yearly reflection, and I wrote most of it down so it can just kind of speed us right through it. First off, in 2023, I paid off 2 debts, which I thought was fantastic. I also created a great debt payoff plan, and I will put a video above here. If you don't have a debt, payoff plan set up for yourself, make sure to do that before you go into the new year so that you have it all set up. Or if you're new to cash budgeting, you need to know how much your debt snowball should be so that you can get out of debt as quick as possible. Also, I use savings challenges to propel that debt snowball, and I got my kiddos excited to save, which is amazing to create that foundation, to see those realization of how powerful saving is, which really was exciting to see, and I'm excited to see how much they even grow more this upcoming year. Okay, what did I do well? I continue to pay off debt regardless of my ups and downs, and this was big for me. There's always hiccups in all of our life. I know there is in yours too. So, I had a miscarriage. One of my kiddos went to the hospital, and I had to deal with some things there. Everyone's good and healthy and happy now, but definitely it's easy to get down on your plan when that happens. But because I set such a well plan in place, it was nice to kind of just see it keep going even through the highs and the lows. And so I really loved that it worked, and that I'm going to definitely carry that into the new year. What can be improved? Okay, well, I definitely thought about this, and I think what can be improved is the fact that I need to cut out and maybe it is for all of us, right? Extra spending. I don't know about you, but just, those ads and those advertisements, they get me sometimes. So definitely need to cut out my extra spending. And then things I wanted to learn, things I want to grow in are definitely going to be, I want to read the book Think and Grow Rich. And I really want to read the book Atomic Habits. This year I was only able to get through one book, The Psychology of Money. And if you've never read that book, but you're starting this journey or you've been on a budgeting journey for a while, please read it. It is such a good foundational book. It helped me so much just to create that mindset that no matter how much you make, you can save money. Saving is what's the powerful thing in money, and keeping your money. You can make as much money in the world, but if you don't know how to save it, then it's futile. All right, things I want to change. I want to take action on the things that I learn. I don't know how many of you do this, but every time I learn a new skill, maybe on a YouTube video or a podcast or a book, I probably only apply what I learn, every once in a while. I definitely don't learn something and apply it. And so if this year I really want to be intentional that once I've learned something that I turn around and as long as it, aligns with my life, to apply it to my life so that I can reap the benefits of that growth and that time I took to invest in myself. Okay, here I'm in for starting. I'm going to start my new savings challenge book, my new envelopes. I'm going to wrap up all the other savings challenges for the year, and I'm going to budget. I'm going to continue to budget, save, and pay off debt. So that's my yearly reflection this year. I'm excited as I looked back, all the good wins and some things and areas that I can grow in, and I'm excited to carry that into the new year. Make sure you do a yearly reflection before moving forward so you can see your highs and lows and anything that you need to change to be more successful as you go forward. I included all of these forms that we're going to use today in the link below. They're free. If they look like they'd be good and suited for you, then go ahead and download those so you can utilize them. Next, I included this envelope categories. I just put a few of my own and some other ones I could think of, and I left you some room for kind of brainstorming your own ideas. it was hard for me at first to figure out what categories do I need and where should I start. And so I remember Googling a bunch of categories. And so I just wanted to put some of the main ones that I use and I see other people use here to see if that maybe that helps you plan out your categories moving forward. All right, next is the cash wallet. But before we can do my cash wallet, I want to go over my planner that I use, because without a good plan put in place, I really think it's hard to figure out how much money you're working with. So, however you do your bills on a piece of paper or a planner, make sure you're doing that one monthly breakdown, because that breakdown is really going to help you figure out how much money we're putting in all these sinking funds. So I mapped out my paychecks. You need to know this too. I have 5 paychecks, but I cash stuff 3 times a month. This is important. Are you cash stuffing just once a month because you get paid once a month? Are you cash stuffing multiple times a month? We need to know this. Make sure all your bills are paid ahead of time. I also include my groceries and gasoline when I do my bills, but if you don't, that'll be included in your cash wallet, which we're doing in a minute. But make sure that that's all accounted for, because these are the number one brick and mortar, take care of your 4 walls, food, housing, lights, right? And those kind of things. Once that's all done, then you can make sure to get your, debt snowball set up if you're still in debt, or maybe your investment, your wealth building money going forward. You can set up your cash envelopes. These are for cash envelopes. Cash wallet is for things you're going to spend, usually maybe on your debit card in the past, but now you've chose to be cash stuffing. That's what we do here, so that we're more disciplined and it's harder to overspend in these areas. If you only have $90 in cash, that's how much you have to spend, right? Then our sinking funds, and these are my high priority short-term sinking funds. I'll explain more of that later. So I have $300 for this one, and I'm actually taking my leftover that I started to accrue at the end of the year, and I'm going to put it into the sinking fund. So about $300, a little more, but about $300 in my sinking funds here. So $300 and $300. I know how much money I have to work with while I plan these out. It's going to be important that you do the same and you know how much money you're working with. That way, it's easier to plan for it. A lot of people go into this, and I think it's really confusing to them because they don't know where they're starting. If you don't have a monthly budget layout, it's going to be difficult. So if you've never done that before, I'm going to put a video up here of my last monthly budget. And if you've never cashed up before and all of this is overwhelming, I will also link up here a how to start in the beginner video of cash envelopes, okay? Because it can be quite confusing if you don't know where to start. But watch this video first, and then I'll leave that at the end card, okay? So now we're going to go into these cash wallets. Okay, we're gonna get straight into this cash wallet now, stuffing. All right, now I found all these numbers for my monthly budget, so I'm absolutely just copying them over from my monthly budget. So I just know that I spend this much money. When I first did my monthly budget, I had to look back over the last 6 months and figure out how much I could do in each of these, and you'll see that if you haven't done it before, or you already know since you have yours figured out. Take those numbers and put them here, and then divide them by however many cash stuffings you have. So I have 3, so I'm simply just dividing the amounts by 3, so I know exactly how much is going to go into each of my cash stuffings from this cash wallet filling. All right. So now that I have that, then my fully funded amount. Now on sinking funds is a little bit different, but on your cash wallet, I personally just have it the same exact amount as my projected amount. So, and if I have money left over, then I have the great opportunity to go ahead and put it into a different fund. So for instance, my eating out, if I get to, because I fill my 3 cash stuffings in my cash, in my cash envelopes. And the beginning of the month, I personally take them all and fill my cash wallet. So in December coming up, I'm going to fill all of these from the whole 3 cash stuffings I've done in November, and I'm going to use them all December long, and then I'll refill them in January. This is how I do it so that I have enough, for eating out, because $30 for me wouldn't be enough to go out to eat with my family of 8. So instead, I save all month long, and then I go ahead and go out. The first time I ever did cash stuffing, I did have to be frugal for 1 month to get a buffer for this area. That's just how I do it. Some cash stuffers just go ahead and they fill it. Every time they do a cash stuffing, they fill their wallet too. You have to do what works for you. This is what works for me, okay? Okay, so once I have that all filled up, like I said, if there's money left over though, when I do my next cash stuffing, you know, in December, if I go to stuff my eating out and there's $30 hanging out in here, then I'm going to only put 16 here and take that other 30 and go to my next priority, which will be my high priority short-term sinking funds, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So I roll this over and I'll talk about how I do that. All right, let's add it up and make sure it's within about that 300. It can be a little bit more, a little bit less, but it needs to be pretty close to that. This is actually probably the part that took me the very longest the first time I ever did this, because I think I did this number, you know, and it was completely off. Now, when I have my budget, my monthly budget done, my numbers are now not so, you know, far off. But when I first did it, I tried to do it backwards. I tried to do all my envelopes first and then my budget, and it didn't work. So you might have to take some finessing though, move your numbers around if they're not exactly where they're supposed to be. And again, my fully funded goal amount will be exactly the same because I'm just doing my goal per month, not any longer. And I am going to make some notations here because I'm going to be making some new envelopes off of what I'm planning for here. So I'm going to put in here that I also would like a clothing envelope in my wallet. I would like a health envelope in my wallet and a receipt envelope in my wallet. And I would like a vacation envelope in my wallet. This is mostly because when I go on vacation or I need somewhere for my receipt or I take money from a longer sinking fund and put it into clothing or health, it needs a home in my wallet. So this is just a nice reminder that when I get to making my cash wallets or purchasing them, I know what categories I need for them. Okay, so now that my cash wallets are all planned out, now we get to get into some more fun, which is the sinking funds. Now, when I'm speaking about sinking funds, there's high priority sinking fund, short-term ones, and there is low priority sinking funds, long-term ones. Okay, and just because I want to explain this because people get confused sometimes. The short-term high priorities, these are for expenses that are going to occur shortly, so within the next year, okay? And this long-term low priority are going to be for long-term expenses that occur more from a year from now or even farther. Now, there's no right or wrong way to do it. This is how I do it. There's no right or wrong things to put in your categories. You may make these and switch them up halfway through the year. You have to do you. You know, last year I had birthdays in my long-term priorities, thinking I could, you know, put it off and not have, you know, just have a sinking fund, which I messed up, and it really needed to be in my short term because I use a lot of money for my short-term birthdays because I have so many kiddos. I'm constantly doing birthdays. So you have to do what works for you, but this is what I thought about in my last year. I thought about what did I use the most, which envelopes did I tap into the most, and these were them. So these are the ones I'm going to go for being fully funded. Now, most of these, my pet care, health, birthday, school, haircuts, and clothing, you know, I don't need a certain amount, except for maybe haircuts and car registration. So I'm going to start with the ones that I have to when I'm figuring this out, just letting you know how I think about this. Again, I have about $300. That's what I had when I did my monthly budget. I did put different categories in here, and I removed some categories different from my monthly budget from last month. So, but I still only have about 300. So I'm going to do the most priorities first, which is car registration. I need $1,200 every month to fully fund my car registration. So we're going to go ahead and take that $1,200 a month, or a year, excuse me, and divide it by 12 to figure out how much we need every month. And it looks like we're going to need $100 a month. I'm going to divide that by 3 because that's how many cash stuffings I do. So that's about $33, dollars. I'm going to round up to 35 because honestly, I'm not going to go ahead and pull $3 from the ATM. This will make it easier. This should leave a little extra in this fund. And to be honest, I have $200 extra in this fund right now, which will be fantastic because that will roll into the next year. And I'm hoping to continue to increase this as I get things more fully funded so I can grow it and have kind of reserves, like a padding in each of these for inflation or things in the future to think about. Okay, same with haircuts. So my kiddos' haircuts, a haircut every like 2.5, 3 months, and it's about $125, $120 for all of them to get their haircut. So I'm gonna need to at least put $40 in this fund, but I already can calculate in my mind that won't be right for pulling out my cash stuffing. So I'm gonna do $45 in this fund, which is about $15 a cash stuffing. And that's gonna put me at, what is that, 40 times 12 all year long. 480 would fully fund this one. Okay, so those are the only two that I'm like, I have to have that amount. And if you have to have that amount, make sure you do it either if you know the fully funded amount, work that way. If you know the monthly amount you need, then work this way. I hope that makes sense. The rest are kind of like, I would like to have pet care. I looked at my back. I spent my back in a few months. I spent about $20, $30 a month of necessities. Now I would love way more than that, but my necessity for dog food and care like that is about $20 a month. I'm giving a little bit extra for inflation. So that's $10 a cash stuffing, and 30 times 12 is 360. Okay. And for health, I'm going to do 15, which will be 5, which will be 15 times 12, 180. And for birthdays, we're actually going to do 90, which is like the minimum I can do to make sure that I have enough for my kiddos. That's $30 a month. And let's see here, 90 times 12 is 1080. For school, let's just go ahead and do 15. That's $5 and that's 180. We found out. And then again, let's just do 15 here as well, which is 5 and 180. Okay, so my monthly amount that I'm going to need should hopefully be around about 300. Let's see here. 310, so that's perfect. And how much is our fully funded year? All right, 3,660. And what I like to do is I like to try my very hardest to, save money on groceries, maybe cut back on eating out for a month, do a stay home challenge or something like that. And then take some of this extra money that I have at the end of the month and throw it at my high priority. The faster I can get my high priority fully funded, the faster I can fully fund my low priorities and kind of my fun dreaming challenges, right? So I'm also going to put in here a little note that I want to try to fully fund early, like before the end of the year. That way I can start really throwing some of that money into something else. All right, let's do the very last category, which is the low priority long-term one right here. Okay, and so a lot of people have in this fund, things like a wedding or a new baby coming or saving for a down payment. I don't have any of those things going on in my life right now. Plus, I want to make sure these are so fully funded that if I want some of those things to go on in my life, I can do that. So we're going to get these and try to get these fully funded as fast as possible. It would be amazing to get everything fully funded early, and then I can move on to buffering these so I don't have to put so much money into them next year. Same with the previous categories. Of course, those are more of a priority and I would do first. Okay, so I look at these a little differently. I don't have extra money for these. I get asked all the time, how do you do savings challenges? I don't have any money left at the end. Well, as you saw, my high priority and my cash wallet are stuffed from my paychecks. There's no money left for this at the end. So these are all side hustles, savings, things I try to save, things I sell around the house, extra thing, babysitting I do for people, side hustle kind of jobs. That's how I get things for this. And I definitely try to focus on the most important, which is car maintenance, all the way down to, traveling and things like that are maybe not as important. Okay. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes my paychecks fluctuate a little bit. So when they fluctuate, anything that's extra will also go to this immediately. So I do try to increase my debt snowballs. Don't hear what I'm not saying. Most of it goes to debt, but I do take a little portion of that and put it towards here too, just to make sure I have buffers everywhere to keep myself safe. You know, I think it is important that if you have the money, go ahead and put it in here. You know, Christmas is coming. We know that something's gonna happen in the car eventually. So anticipating them beforehand is really important so that it's not like this wow moment when it comes. So usually about 2 or 3 months into the year, I can start pouring into these pretty well because my other ones have already started to be fully funded by, I apply Christmas bonuses to them. I apply any of my side hustles to them as fast as I can. All right, so what I do is I think about savings challenges to motivate me on the path when I do these. And I kind of just go, okay, how much do I want in car maintenance? I want about 1,000. Last year I spent about 600 on random car stuff, so I think I need about 1,000. Sports, I spent 600 last year. I'm going to keep it at 6. Holidays, and this is everything from Easter to Valentine's to Christmas to Thanksgiving, all of it about that probably. College, my goal, this is a dream, about 5,000 to give over to my kiddos. Emergency fund, I already have, and a little caveat, you need to have your emergency fund first. I already have an emergency fund. If I didn't, it would be way at the top of the priority before I ever started extra sinking funds. My house maintenance, probably about 1,000, in case that washer and dryer breaks. We're going to do travel at 3,000 with a big family. Unfortunately, going anywhere costs a near fortune. 1 month ahead. Now I have this set up in my planner for a 3-year plan to get to 8,000, which is my base amount to live with my big family and everything like that. So I'm working towards that. And then my debt, I'm just going to put the snowball, throw everything I possibly can at it that's extra, right? Now, what I do to motivate myself, because I don't have enough money for these, and because I can get weary trying to put money aside and put money aside with no goal in sight, what I did last year that completely was a game changer and helped me do all kinds of savings that I didn't anticipate and really increase the speed in which my sinking funds were accomplished is savings challenges. So I'm going to use this book this year. There's tons of them on Etsy. Please check them out. I will list a few of them below, including this one that I really like that I saw over there. This was a gift for me from On the Hill. She sent it to me, and so I'm just deciding, because she sent it to me, why not use it for the year? So there's going to be challenges in here like this no spend challenge. I'm going to just put that towards debt, and to also maybe some of my higher priorities. But then things like this one, I assigned each savings challenge to one of my sinking funds. So this one's to sports. This one is to college. This is to my emergency fund. This is to my house maintenance, my car maintenance, my travel. And then I have vacation one, the extra debt one. Birthdays, I really only put the minimum amount for birthdays. I think I was giving my kid like each child 150. I hope to have a little bit extra to do some bigger things here and there. So I'm going to do a little extra savings for that. There's of course like Valentine's Day, treat yourself. And then all of this will go into my holiday fund, Easter, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, looks like spring, St. Patrick's Day, you get the point. So I'm going to take all this money, put that into my holiday fund so I can do that. Of course, if that one gets fully funded, then it'll roll over to something else. And this is how I've completely changed the game for myself and kept me motivated with my sinking funds and not get off track because I have something right in front of me, keeping me laser focused on what my goals are and what I want. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fill these out really quick on each of the ones that I chose for it. All right, I went ahead and put in all my savings challenges and the fully funded amount goal. I don't have a monthly set amount for this one. If you have the money for it and the extra to do it, definitely fill out what your projected amount is here. But I don't, so I'm gonna do extra side hustles and things like that and hoping to throw it at that, okay? So that is it. That's how I would plan out your low, high, and cash wallet, making sure that you start with a yearly reflection and making sure you start with a monthly budget. All of these will be put in the link below for free. Go ahead and use them if you feel like they'll be helpful. And again, if you're new to cash stuffing and all of this is so confusing, then I'm going to put a how to start cash stuffing right here. And if you need to how to do a monthly budget, then I'll put that monthly budget over here. As always, I want you to find joy in the journey, and I'll see you next time.